Okay, everyone, we're here again. This is Jimmy. Was our number one interviewee, but for reasons that we can't really go into, he is now coming back again to redo his first one. So Jimmy is number one and number
People just want
11.
an encore. That's all. People just
That's
want to
right.
see it again.
Hopefully, there'll be many more encores after this. But would you just, since the first video is not on anymore, would you say who you are, how you know me, and a little about yourself?
Yeah. So my name is Jimmy. I've known Kenny since kindergarten. So that was probably about what, like 25 years ago, I would say. Um, Crazy, because like I know friends that aren't even 25. I'm like, yeah, I've had a friendship with a lot of people longer than you've been alive. Um, so that's how we know each other. A little bit about me. I play music. I play drums and guitar just as a hobby. Work in the events industry. So before COVID, I traveled the country and helped put on events. Most of them were concerts for iHeartRadio, but I actually worked at a different company. So we would get hired by these different clients to come work. And so I would travel all around the country and put the events on. And some of them, again, 90% of them were events because one of my main clients was iHeartRadio. But some of them were like dinners or things that it's called a summit, which is basically you come and see speakers talk about different topics and things like that. So different array of events, but yeah, that's what I did.
Any updates on the event industry front?
No, so still looking for jobs kind of thing, which is totally fine. Um, Currently back in New Jersey, so just chilling here for a little bit until I can find a new job, and then probably move back to the city, figure that out. But yeah,
Yeah.
just applying to stuff and seeing what's going on. The tough thing now is a lot of event-based positions are looking for like virtual event managers. Um,
Interesting.
so like the whole event, but through like Zoom or something where people can log in and attend the event, I guess you could say, which I know some of that stuff and I know how to use some of the digital virtual stuff, but I personally have never fully put on a virtual event. So it's like I know some of the tools. I know like um, the biggest thing is you have to keep people engaged because it's the same thing with watching a video. Same thing with even this YouTube video where after a certain time, people are going to be like, oh, okay, I'm going to move on with my life. And that's that, which fair enough. I'm pretty boring. So I don't care if you move on. No,
We're
I
gonna
think,
hit some interesting philosophical topics, I'm
oh
sure,
my gosh, please,
naturally.
if you leave now, you should leave now. Uh, no, I think the statistical time for it, I think it's about 18 minutes is the longest you can hold someone. And then you have to like repeat that. So you have to keep them interested every 18 minutes. Or at least that's what all my research and stuff on virtual events, that's what they've said.
It's kind of leading. Yeah, interesting.
And they also said you have to break the barrier of, you have to break through the screen. So if it's like I'm trying to think if like Apple is putting on an event, which they did have their, I forget what it's called, some major event, like releasing or giving information on the new iPhone and stuff coming out. I forget what it's called. It's like WDCC or something like that. But you have to, just for this example, if you're Apple, you have to break the barrier and come through the screen. And one way to do that is if you do like an at-home drop-off where you can like deliver like packets and
Wait, so
maybe
I'm confused. Okay,
yeah, I know I'm
so
jumping.
like Apple is trying to do, they're trying to like get it so that they can do an event that's longer than 18 minute or
No, sorry. So the a person's attention span is about 18 minutes for like in a virtual event, and you have to like
oh,
recreate that. So if you don't have any,
oh.
like at that 19th minute, if you're still droning on about the same thing, then statistically they're saying that someone will turn off your video in
Oh my
quick.
God. Well, I have to figure that out fast because all my videos are like 40
2 hours.
minutes. I know. Yeah, I got one that's 3.5 hours. Like,
Oh wow.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, that's good though, and that's but it's different. Yours is like your YouTube channel is very conversational based, so people coming to your YouTube channel will know that these are just
Yeah, conversations. That's
where
true. Rather than like an event kind of deal. Yeah.
right where if for Apple, if people just want to hear about the new iPhone coming out, and you ramble on for like an hour talking about like your COVID relief funds and everything, which while that's great, people are going to be like, okay, whatever. I'll check out the news reports tomorrow about the new iPhone update or something.
Do you think, it's a question about this. Do you think that it's 18 minutes in this day and age? Like, do you think that the media, this is where we are going to start getting into philosophical conversation. Like, do you think that the way that news and TV and social media is structured is the reason why we have an 18-minute attention span according to them? Or do you think that is just naturally what our attention span is?
A little bit of both. So I know um, my mom being a early childhood education. Same thing with my sister. They're both teachers. They they've told me that it's supposed to be like for every year is like the person's attention span. So like a 6-year old can only hold attention for like 6 minutes. That's what they heard at one of their conferences, or maybe I misheard that. Maybe I'm just making up statistics for myself. But yeah, so I mean, obviously, does that mean an 80-year-old can pay attention for 80 minutes? I don't know, but like, who knows?
Yeah, it
Um,
definitely depends. Yeah, interesting
but
though.
I think it's a little bit of that, and I think it's also the majority of. I think it's the fact that there's so much available to people, especially like even sitting on my laptop, I can watch a YouTube video and I don't know how to explain it, but everyone knows this where you're watching a video and then there's that moment of clarity where you snap out of it and you're like, oh my God, I've been watching this video for like 8 minutes. And you're like, this still goes on for another 20 minutes. And you're like, do I really want to sit here and watch this video? And then you tell yourself, well, maybe I'll go and check Facebook. I'll check Instagram. You're always checking something else. So I think it's the fact that there's so much available to us and there's also somewhat of a societal need or desire to know
Mhm.
what's going on. So you're always checking these things. And so it's like a quick little glance. Like I'd be like, oh, I'm going to check Instagram. I'm going to check my text messages. You check it real quick to make sure you don't miss anything so that there's no, what's called FOMO, fear of missing out.
Interesting.
So I think that is always like, if people spend too much time on one thing, you might be like, oh, well, let's see what's on this social media or this social media. So I think people are jumping around always.
I think you're right. I think that like the in this day and age, whenever we have the ability to stay up on issues like immediately, if we so choose,
Yeah,
so many people feel the need to be up on the latest tweet by Trump, the latest kind of thing that happened with SpaceX, the latest Dow Jones drop, or like I wonder like do people want to be so up on it? I mean, I suffer from it too. Like whenever there's like kind of action, what for me like it's Big Brother, either Big Brother or like I want to know if George R. R. Martin has said what the release date of his next book is going to be,
yeah.
or you know, but like is that need antithetical to finding peace in one's life? Like I'm just so at this point, I'm really starting to get into like mindfulness and
Yeah.
finding peace, and which is really difficult for me, but it's helpful for my anger because I think I'm angry. And I just wonder if FOMO is really antithetical to living a fulfilled life. I don't know. It'd be. What do you think?
Also, if you take the book release example they were just talking about, in reality, it doesn't really matter when it's coming out. Like let's say it comes out September 1st. It doesn't matter if you know that now. I'm sure. at September 1st, you're going to be hearing about it, or maybe it's even like a week later. Like you'll know it's out once it's out. So like, does it make a difference if you know now? But maybe it does, because then for me, it's not so much knowing the topic itself, it's that other people might know the topic and I might be left out, kind of thing. So I could go out to a group of
Ah,
friends and we're talking about Game of Thrones and they're like, oh, did you hear the new book has been announced? And I'd be like, no, I haven't. I mean, that's a little exciting because then I can go home and look it up. But then if everyone's talking about it for the next 30 minutes and they're talking about what it's going to be called and what like what it's going to be covered, I've got no idea because I haven't looked it up. Where if I did stay on top of that, then I would be able to bring some of that conversation. And I think that's the bigger thing is, yeah, FOMO is more with like activities and events like, oh, I missed that party on Friday or Saturday. But I think for me, it's more of people almost expect you to know it in the sense of like, um, we've come to a day and age where it's like if someone posts pictures of their vacation, then like they know that everyone on Instagram or Facebook, wherever they post it, is going to see it. So when someone goes, oh, I saw your pictures, like the beach looked really nice, they're not going to be like, well, how did you know I went to the beach? Like they know that they posted it, so they almost expect you to see that, you know?
oh, isn't that so ridiculous though? Like, don't people hate that? Don't like if like every like if it's a culture that people like, it just sounds like a self-perpetuating, stressful culture that people are like right like
Oh yeah.
by it, by like talking about it and embracing it, you're also perpetuating it and like don't like why I guess what is why I mean, I can understand why people want to because they want to, people want to feel important.
Yeah.
And if you post your things online and other people see it and then they mention it to you when they see you next, they know that they have gotten attention from putting it online. And that gives a sense of importance.
Yeah.
But it's so fleeting. That kind of that kind of thing is so fleeting, it's just not sustainable. And if people are looking for kind of a sustainable feeling of importance or attention,
Hmm.
I don't know if that's, I
Well,
mean, I'm not saying that that stuff is wrong because it's human to want that, but I don't know if
it's
that's
tough because
sustainable.
you have to think, like I think about this all the time because I'm on the edge with social media. I think it's great for certain things and I think it's bad for other things. But like to give a good example for what you're talking about, if my friend goes on a vacation, they go to the beach, or let's switch that around. If I go on vacation to a beach or wherever, then I most likely will post some picture that I'm down at whatever beach I go to. And then next time I see that friend, I know that they're gonna say something like, "Oh, how was your trip to blank and blank beach?" I'm like, "Oh, it's great. You know, we continue from there." But then I think to myself, like, would it be better to talk to this friend and the friend goes, "Oh, what did you do last weekend?" I'd be like, "Oh, well, actually, I went on vacation. I went to this beach." And then it's like a surprise to them. They're like, "Oh my God, that's so great that you took a
Yeah,
vacation."
tell me about it. Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
right. Where before, or if I post something on social media, not that they don't care, but it almost blurs the line of like, are they just making conversation because they know this thing about me?
Right.
Or, but then you can counteract that and say they have information to talk to me or to use when we talk, you know,
I
like
s-
is it giving them
I s-
material or is it just, is it giving them good material to talk about or is it giving them just filler information? And that's, I think it depends, also depends on the friendship. I don't think we ever have to like prep things to talk about. But there's some friends that I have that are more like colleagues and acquaintances where it'd be helpful to know like, oh my gosh, you went to this beach and I go to that beach all the time. Be like, oh, did you check out this restaurant? You know, things like that that I already know about that they might
Mhm.
not bring up, but I know I can bring up because I know that information about them. But it's also creepy that I know that.
Well, it's not creepy. I don't know if it's creepy, right? Because like it's also part of the, it comes with the culture. Like it's not creepy. Like creepy would be like if someone posts, oh, something's happening with this computer. Hold on one second. I'm gonna
You
try
could,
to exit out of this. Okay. No, like I think what creepy would be is like, let's say that there's a friend, male or female, really, if
okay,
that says, oh, I went to this beach. What would be creepy is like going like through their pictures and like identifying exactly what hotel they went to
true.
and were in, and then like and then like going and talking to them about like, hey, like what hotel did you go to, knowing that, like, to me that's the line of creepiness, like to see
Yeah,
that
you
they
take
went to
that
a beach and they tagged the beach,
right.
and you go and you say, but I think I just I don't know. It sounds to me like what you're saying is is setting up a balanced perspective of it.
Well, I
But
mean, it is because social media is it's good and it's bad. It's good in the sense that it's connected a lot of people, and I know. I mean, especially during this time, I for like maybe about a week or two during the quarantine or whatever, the only social media I have is Instagram. I don't have Facebook or anything. I deleted all that, and so I was like, oh, I'm gonna delete Instagram and just see if I can last. Because there's times where I was like just scrolling on Instagram and I was like, you know, 20 minutes later, I'm like, okay, what did I do with my life? Like, I got to go do something. So I deleted it for a little bit. And then I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, it's good to delete the personal habit of it. But then you also do feel a little disconnected with the world because that's just, if used properly, that's just like another form of communication. You know, it's
mm,
almost not as personalized, but the same thing as like shooting someone a text message or something. You know, it's just text. It's not a call. You're not hearing the person's voice or seeing their face or anything, but something like that. So if you're, if you both comment on a picture, like if someone posts about a new video game coming out, and I'd be like, oh, this looks so cool, and then one of my friends like, oh, that does look cool. Like we can have a conversation about that. So I think the social aspect of it is good, but then it comes into the bigger thing, which is um, I guess you would just branch it under like the personal branding of like what do you look like on social media? Do you are you posting just family pictures? Are you posting very artsy pictures? Are you just and for me, am I posting me playing something on piano or drums? Like what is when someone goes to my profile, what do they
yeah,
yeah.
what are you going to be getting from it? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean there's people that make that's people's entire jobs. There's a whole social media field. Even for a company, there's a social media strategist or campaign designer, this and that, or you could even branch into the whole um, PR field, public relations field of like, this is a celebrity. If we're going to post something on Instagram, what are we going to say? Because it's going to be, there forever. People are going to take screenshots of it, this and that. And so
Yeah, I
personal
think
branding there. And that's where
yeah.
I think it's tough because then you even think of like um, younger kids, like teenagers that are worried about what they're posting and looking perfect while they're posting this and that and the perfect angles and the lighting and all that. And I just think to myself, I couldn't even imagine like being a teenager growing up with, I mean, we had MySpace, but like social media MySpace was so good. Okay. Like my MySpace was, you go on the page, there'd be some like punk rock song coming. There'd be like glitter not glitter, but like things flashing. I thought it was so cool. My
we
top
had those
eight, whatever it was.
we had those AIM profiles that were
Yes.
really awesome. Like I remember that I think you had a really good MySpace, and I don't know, maybe one of the I forget who else had a really good MySpace, but like I remember, on the info page for AIM, like going and viewing the full profile or something like that, and then having this whole space that where you could just like write whatever you want, and
Yeah. You had like
I was
away messages. Like if you stepped away from your computer for a second, you could be like going to get a snack or I don't know, something like that.
Oh, I
And
love that. I love that. Yeah, I mean, we were really discovering that all together, like you and
yeah,
Rob and I, and yeah, everyone from our class. I think that was probably around fifth or sixth grade, right? Like
yeah,
2000, 2001.
I think that. But I mean, like AOL, AIM, or whatever, those are definitely a little bit more interactive than social media because you're instant messaging. You're texting someone back and forth essentially just through the computer. Um, but if
Yeah,
we
it was
had,
like it was the first kind of texting, right? The
yeah,
really
yeah, it was the those were the days though. God, kids will never know. Like we had
those
to
were great.
those were fantastic days. Now kids are like they're like in second grade, they're texting their friends and this and that. I'm like, I had to wait till like sixth grade. I had to wait till the computer was open. If you didn't have like really, really good internet, you had to make sure your mom was on the phone or taking up the internet and just things like that.
That's true. Yeah, it was right because I remember earlier on, like, well, around the same time as AIM, I'd be like calling your numbers. I think I'm trying to remember what your phone number was. I think it was 973-857-857. Was it 857?
I can't tell you. We still have that phone number. God
Do
forbid.
you really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. Maybe I should shut up.
I remember, I remember Rob's because I used to call it every day
Me too.
for
Me too. 973 seven four
744
four five nine
597
seven five.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully he doesn't still have that number.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
Yeah.
someone's going to be getting phone calls from randos.
They're gonna
Um,
call Rob for
I forget what I would. I think I would call Rob for Survivor and for Big Brother and stuff.
yeah. Big Brother's coming back
It
and
is. It's actually premiering on Wednesday.
Wednesday. Today's
Yeah,
Monday. Wednesday, yeah.
Wednesday. That's right.
I'm gonna
And
watch it. It's All Stars, I think. I don't
yeah.
religiously watch it, but I've watched it because I live with Rob or live with Rob, I think. So
So, oh yeah, so that kind of makes me want to ask, like, do you feel any difference now, like moving back to Jersey, and like what for you,
yeah,
what has been the change you think for you since?
I so obviously I want to move back to the city and get my own place. That's definitely the goal kind of thing. But I'm in a fortunate problem to have in the sense that I have to move back with my parents, which is not what I want, but also like I'm fortunate to have that problem because
You can
if
save
I
money.
I'm saving a ton of money because I don't have to pay rent anymore. But once I get a new job in the city and I'm there for like a month or two, definitely start looking for a new place. Just because it's like I kind of not in a pity sense, but like miss my own life or like my old life kind of thing in the sense
Yeah.
of like just do whatever I want. Like I can do whatever I want here. My parents aren't like up my ass kind of thing, but I things like if I want to drive somewhere, I gotta make sure no one else needs a car or something. But like little things like that. And it's also like no one wants to move back in with their parents. It's not like not what you're trying to do, but the same like nothing against it. But for me, it was just like I I feel like I've done this stage already, and so now I feel like I'm taking a step back. And it's like, well, no, 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 I did this already. I did live with my parents and whatever. So I'm trying to.
Do you feel any like old habits creeping back? And if so, like specifically, what do you think those old habits could be?
Um, I mean, nothing bad. I think it was just the you start like not relying, well, I guess relying on other people more in the sense of like my mom does food shopping, so I'm expecting that there's not expecting, but I'm just used to like food being in the house, and so it's things like that where it's like I I actually really enjoy food shopping. So I mean, I go with my mom or whatever and make sure that I get my food. But like I used to, I mean, you saw our apartment. I used to walk all the way down and go to Costco, which is at the end of our street. And like Saturday morning, buy whatever I needed to for the next few weeks, especially at Costco, and then lug it back up. And it was very like, um,
Efficient. Yeah.
yeah, it was right there. I mean, it sucked lugging that stuff back up the hill, but it was very, what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, Not groundbreaking, but puts me on like a level ground in the sense of like not everyone has a car, not everyone has someone that can just go food shopping for them. Like very grounding experience, I guess you could say. Where here kind of becomes more of like I don't know what other word to use it, but more of like a babying fact of like someone didn't care for you kind of thing,
Yeah,
which is
well,
nice.
yeah, and
But
I think that's natural too, because I mean, yeah, like, and when moving home with
yeah,
parents, like, such a large part of our parents' identities are like taking care and raising us, you know, and
of course. I mean, when I moved back, I told my mom, I was like, you guys have to find things to do because I can't have you like up my ass all the time. Please find other things to do. Like, I need to find a job. I need to get out of here, kind of thing. I'm gonna be talking to friends, and just
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
coexist, kind of thing.
When it and it's I mean, your parents are really cool,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
have always seemed like they care very much about your independence.
yeah. They respect it, and in no way have they been bad at all. And my dad's working from home, so he works in their bedroom. He got his desk set up, so we're all here, and yeah, I mean, it's nice to connect with family again, kind of thing. Not that I wasn't connecting with family, so it is nice for that. But then there's the fact of like I miss going to like just living in the city and hopping on a subway and going somewhere,
Anywhere, yeah,
anywhere.
anywhere.
You get off at any stop and walk a few blocks, and you can find like a bar or a place that's playing music or something, and just check it out and meet people. I think that's the bigger thing that I noticed that I've missed is like I I get bored, but not bored in the sense of like I have nothing to do because obviously I can you know play piano, play drums, play Xbox. Like I can keep
Yeah.
myself entertained, but it's more of the um, progressive things like going out and meeting new people. It's like, well, maybe I meet someone and they're like, hey, I really like rock climbing. And I'd be like, oh, I've never done it before. I have, but I've never done it before. I'd love to try it. And they're like, oh, let's go. And, next Saturday we'll try it. And so maybe I do, things like that where it's progressive. It's not like I'm going
Yeah.
to keep myself entertained for this one little hour and that's that. So I think that's really what I miss. So it's not really like,
Mm.
I don't have any bad habits or anything. I've actually got really good habits. I'm trying to improve myself. I've told you I work out every day. Which is nice now living in New Jersey because I've got places like I work out outside, like I lift outside, which obviously I couldn't do when I was in my apartment. But every morning I wake up around like 7 o'clock. I go for a 3 mile run or walk.
Wow, 3 mile. Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice. A comp that yeah, that's great.
Plus 7 o'clock. I would love to run, and sometimes I do, but most of the time my body's like, dude, chill. Because
Yeah.
because after that, then I lift, depending on what day it is. Like today was back and biceps. And then I do what's called circuit, which you do like certain set of things back to back. So it's like 10 push-ups, 10 squats, 30-second crunch, 10 burpees, 10 donkey kicks, and then 25 jumping jacks. And you do that 4 times. So you do that once, take a water break, do it again. So
That's great.
that's actually something I noticed recently is like I have to keep moving. And I was doing that in the city because I would walk to the subway, which was about a mile walk, I think it ended up being. Then you stand on the subway, then you walk to work, like walk up to work. And even at work, I'm walking around, even though it was technically a desk job. Then I'd come back. And so there was like kind of always moving, even though again, still sitting at a desk where it's like, I can literally right now wake up and sit in a chair and watch like YouTube all day. And it's like, well, that makes me a little like anxious and I get a little
Mm.
grumpy or whatever because I need to keep moving. And it's always been like that, but I don't know. So now maybe like this morning, I was a little grumpy this morning, but then I did my whole workout and I went to Target earlier, so I did something. So
Yeah,
now I'm
kind of
ready for the
clears
interview.
the
Yeah,
mind.
clears the
Yeah.
mind, gets the endorphins going.
Yeah, my earlier on this summer, I was getting up at 5. I think for a month straight, maybe a month and a half. I was getting up at 5 every morning. I was doing like an hour of writing. I was doing like an hour of stretching and some like push-ups and sit-ups, and then I would go for a run. Then I'd come back and do jump rope and like a what do they call it? Like they have a it's like this band, like a resistance band. Yeah, that I would like to help my posture and stuff. And
Yeah.
and so like that was I know my
Every time
posture's
someone
like
says posture, you're like,
yeah yeah.
don't slouch the shoulders.
Yeah, I know. Oh, that's actually something that they've been talking about to me at the conservatory is like, like walk as though you're walking with your spine first. You know,
Mhm.
because what I've been doing is like my most of my life is just like walking with the front of my body.
Yeah.
Whereas like if I walk with my spine, I mean, just
Yeah.
like look at, I mean,
Yeah. It's a
it's
different.
it's crazy, and
Makes you look taller
so
too.
what is that?
I said it makes you look taller too. But
Yeah.
like, what's the purpose of that? Like playing dumb here. Like, why are they telling you to do that? Like, what's
Yeah.
wrong with the other way?
Well,
I guess.
so I think with the first one, it finding kind of this central kind of alignment of the body, it gives you a good standard neutral so that like I'd be able to transform and like physically or manifest other characters physically more easily if I were to just like be standing up straight. Like if I were to be given like a role as a king, kings don't walk around like, like they're
You know?
shuffling from place to place. Like kings, know their place.
Yeah.
They don't budge. And so like if I can achieve kind of that standard, and I think I could be cast as a king, I could be cast as a prince, I could be cast as, like a sword fighter or, um, it just allows for more range. And so if I'm able to have that, then I can access my range. I mean, if my standard is going to like this, like that's kind of the conniving, clever villain.
Right.
But
Right.
like if like I can do that while also being in, they call it dynamic neutral alignment, which is just fancy talk for good posture.
I mean, it makes sense even what you're just doing. You can,
See that.
if you were a king and you were slouching like this, it would not convey very well. And I think it's almost, even though physically it's easier, I think it's easier to go from having good posture to like down to this if you had to play a villain or something, as opposed to vice versa, where it's like
Right.
playing a villain, you've done this your whole life, and like, oh, play a king, and you're like, okay, wait, I'm doing this.
Yeah, like that.
And
Oh, like
it looks awkward. You're like about to do like the chest press the whole time.
well, exactly. Yeah, yeah. It just seems very unnatural
Yeah.
if it like going the other way. So it's just trying to help to correct a habit that isn't serving me.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I
yeah,
think
man. But I,
like
oh,
that.
but I don't. I have absolutely no idea if I'm going to continue to act. I don't know if you've heard me say that in previous videos, but like
No, no, yeah,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like doing it. I like actually acting, but
right.
the industry itself
Yeah.
is a mess. Um, some of the like the things that you have to go through to get a job, like a lot of it is actually really political, and
Mm,
that's the last thing that I mean, if I wanted to do politics, I could have easily just chosen for 10 years to go into politics. Like
yeah.
you know,
Political
I,
science major.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I could have, gone into community stuff or yeah, I could have done a ton of different things. Um, but so
But
this channel is actually kind of like my first kind of after doing it for a month, it's actually feeling really. It's actually been like a little over a month since we had our last
yeah,
Zoom, and
well, 2 months.
really,
It was in June. Yeah,
wow,
I looked at the date when you sent that email originally. It was June 12th,
wow.
almost 2 months ago. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You know why? That's right. I sent that, and then I wasn't able to put it on because I couldn't figure out how to put on a long
Right.
video for like 2 weeks.
Right. Yeah. That's
And
right. All the little hiccups of starting up the channel.
yeah, but for a month straight, well, I missed a day, but for a month, I've now done 60 videos.
Yeah.
Um, and I it feels so natural to me, this kind of thing. Um, and I'm loving talking to people. It's one of the things that I love doing is like meeting people and then also like keeping up with good friends and family. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like it's not work for me. This is not work for me, right? This is like a joy. So what if I were able to do this and I don't know.
Well, what if you? I mean, two things. What if you
Hmm.
did this and even like took it a step further and did something more like a podcast as well, which is obviously very popular with people. And then the bigger thing, obviously, there's no question to this right now, is if you did want to pursue this, how do you make money from this? Because you need to feed yourself, you know?
See, I like to not eat. I don't know about you.
Yeah, just live on the streets.
I'll just
Yeah.
live on the streets with my laptop, meeting strangers and doing
Yeah.
videos.
Go to the
Um,
coffee shops with free Wi-Fi. Yeah. Yeah.
hey, you know what? I
Hey,
actually,
that's what you gotta do.
I yeah, I mean, there are. I've been looking into videos on how to do things like that. But I don't think that I'd be able to actually make money from this channel for
Yeah.
probably like if I did a video a day for like 400 days, like a little over a year, I think I'd be able to maybe start making money. But I mean, that's a long game. So I don't know. But
Here's the bigger question: is if you were to start making money, does that ruin the whole channel almost, or what we're doing now? Because then you'd have to become businessy about it. You'd have to make sure that this gets views and that, if you put it up on YouTube, that YouTube pays you in the sense of getting like advertisements and stuff, or, however you choose to make your YouTube channel famous. But
I
then it would
mean,
have to be business. So it's like, what if you wanted me on, but I'm not an entertaining person? I'm just using that as an example. I'm clearly very entertaining. Um,
next time you have to wear like a clown outfit. We'll both wear clown outfits for the next one.
just pull whatever we can. Use like the clickbait titles, whatever, like two men wear clown outfits. It's all in caps or something. See what happens. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, that was probably a horrible. No one would click on that. Like, no one. Not a single person would click on two men wearing clown outfits.
I don't know, Jimmy. I
I
don't
don't know.
know.
You
There,
don't
there,
know
are,
until you try.
there are weird niches out there.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe you can make a lot of God, make a lot of money off that. Watch you make like a ton of money on that, and every single episode afterwards you have to wear a clown outfit, and the person
I would
does
hate that. I would not do that. I would do that maybe once a year for like
yeah,
an homage for my clowning days. But I
I
am,
gotta
it's something like people bring up. Yeah, like well, to kind of finish up the thought of like
yeah,
making this money. Like for me right now, the idea is not to make money. The idea is first of all to spread to spread the word about anti-corruption, and
hmm
also try to generate a culture of this being a place where people can come to like talk about their ideas, because that's number one.
yeah. I think that's the
And
biggest.
then yeah, I for me that the substance comes before the money. But
Yeah,
it would be great to yeah, I think I just need to focus on the substance of it. And
yeah,
if money comes, it comes, and if not, I'm just gonna keep doing my acting thing.
yeah.
Maybe who knows? I have absolutely no idea what I'm
I
gonna do.
can tell you this from someone who's known you forever. You're very much a character in the sense of like a good thing. Like
Yeah.
you're. I think Bobby said this in his video, and I agree with this. I've never met someone like you, kind of thing, in the sense of like you're weird but like it's awesome kind of thing. Like you're just a character. I don't know how, like I specifically remember telling my mom, was like, oh, he needs to be like an actor or on Broadway or something, because he's full of personality and something.
Oh,
He's
that's
either going to
awesome,
end up on
Jim.
Broadway or end up in jail somewhere.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Going to make it
Now
big,
that,
or he's going to get arrested for being weird.
now that is a compliment. That honestly,
Oh,
that's a huge. That's
it's
like
a
so real. That's so honest, Jimmy. Like This is
Yeah.
what I'm missing from people. Like, and this is the thing that kind of really annoys me, is that, like, I don't think we live in a culture um that really embraces people's weirdness.
Yeah.
I think people feel comfortable talking to me and hanging out with me because I'm
Yeah.
different. I'm different in ways, and I think that when people see someone that's different, they feel that they can be allow their difference, the differentness in them out too, and that nothing is going to happen. No one is going to throw them in jail or judge them based off of their idiosyncrasies.
No.
And we need to figure out, and this is one of the reasons that I have this channel too, because, like, I want to figure out a way where we can have a culture where America and the world, America first, of course, in my opinion, because I have to start like, think globally, act locally.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like we need to start moving towards a world culture that allows for people to actually be themselves. And it's actually really difficult because people
But
need to be able to voice their opinions on things, and it may ruffle feathers, and there may be like tension, but that's how people, I don't know, can just kind of grow into themselves more. It's okay if not everyone gets
yeah.
along, but as long as we try to listen with respect and dignity,
Yeah.
anyway, so
That,
that's my
that's a huge thing to accomplish, because I think that's something that goes all the way back to when we're children. You don't want to be on the playground and you're the one that's being goofy. Um,
right.
you're one who has always been goofy on the playground,
Yeah.
singing your like your Baba songs, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But things like that, you don't want to be the outcast. You want to be the cool kid. You want everyone to like you. I think it's like a basic human thing, is you want to be liked. Um, and it's funny, when you're a kid growing up, you will look for the cool groups and try to do what you can to be liked by some people. And then the older you get, you're like, it's all BS, and it doesn't matter. Like, who cares? Like, you end up being yourself, and people like you, then they like you. If they don't, then tough luck.
I
But
yeah, like I like
that's a learned thing.
in school, like at St. Cashin's, like I always loved like playing tag and stuff because we had such a good group. But like I was really jealous of the people that played football because I was like, man, like I want to play football. I want to get the ball passed to me. I want to catch it and have glory and be viewed as the reliable one who scores points and that you
Yeah.
can go to. And the cool kids did that.
Right. 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 Of
Um, and but I mean, and as time goes by, like I still kind of want to be viewed that way, but
course.
luckily it's just adjusting to my own weirdness. It's having those wants and then adjusting to my weirdness that I think is making me continue to survive and thrive in some ways.
Yeah. Well, I think there's hmm, it's tough because trying to think.
No,
The
it's okay.
No, it's just a lot of ideas.
Yeah, man, dude, that's
This,
why I love you, dude.
this is when everyone closes the video and moves on with their life. Um, but I
Okay.
think it's like when you get older, you realize it doesn't matter, because you're going to. I think there's always going to be people that will like you for who you are if you're genuine, and I think that's what I've realized in life, because I have some friends that you would never picture me with. Like, so you just look at me on the outside, I'm very much like an average white guy kind of thing, middle class, whatever. But then there's, not that I'm trying to be friends with just a bunch of white guys, but I think if people saw me, they would assume that that's what all my friends look like, and that's not necessarily true. I look for people that are genuine who they are, and you can tell when you're with someone
Jimmy.
Did you freeze?
Yeah, I froze. Oh, dude,
Oh,
it's
okay.
this freaking computer. It's like support assist from home, blah blah blah. It's like trying to. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Are you
could
good?
could you repeat
You,
that?
yeah. So I was just saying, I now being older, I look for people that are just genuine in who they are,
Mm.
um, because I don't need someone that's going to yes me or be exactly like me or this. Like, obviously, you want to have things in common with your friends, but just want someone to be themselves, and then I can judge from that. Do I want to be friends with them or not? If you're genuinely like weird in the sense of like we don't get along kind of thing, then maybe I won't become friends with you. But if you're weird in your sense where it's like you're weird because you act differently than everyone else, and it's like, but like that's you kind of thing, that's totally fine. That's someone I want to be around, because then you can, it almost takes the social pressure off of having to fit in with these predetermined guidelines that people have, or societies put on people.
That's something
I
that
can be comfortable.
yeah, um, well, for you, like, um, how, how do you know? I think this is something that people may struggle with. Like, how do you know if a person is being like sincere and genuine and authentic? Like, how can you tell a person?
I mean, it's tough because I would like to say that I can see through a bunch of BS and I can get a good read on people, but some people are good at faking it. And to be honest, faking it is not necessarily it's not necessarily a bad thing. I could go out to a bar and meet someone that maybe is very much an introvert, but is trying to be more extrovert and dances more on the dance floor and talks a little bit louder and this that, or whatever reason, like they're trying to get out of their comfort zone. And you might notice that they're probably not usually like that, but maybe they're trying to act differently. um, and you can just kind of read that in the sense of like, even just knowing someone's uh, being fake for other people. I think that's the biggest thing. If you're trying to get out of your comfort zone, I'm all for that, because I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone a little bit. I'm someone that's very relaxed, and I like to. Obviously, I'm not shy or nervous or anything, but I like to figure out ways that I can improve myself and be a little bit more of a character, be a little bit more like Kenny Fedorico, and be like goofy and stuff. I don't know. So anyone that's trying to get out of their comfort zone, I appreciate. But then there's some people that you realize that they're being different because of the people that they're with, and I think that's when I get turned off by those people. It's like, dude, just be yourself. I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know if that made any sense at
No,
all,
it
but
does. It does. It does. Yeah. I sometimes wonder if I am pretty much like whenever I hang out with people who like I can literally like like there are people like if you, me, and Rob were together, like we could go out into a field and just start running and screaming with our hands up and stuff.
yeah,
Like, and I have some other friends like that too, and I very much value those friendships deeply.
of course.
And I think, and for me, I feel really authentic in those moments, even though like I think you, me, and Rob could go out and start screaming in a field with no one else around and
Mm-hmm.
just do it because it's fun.
And we would laugh. Yeah,
Yeah. And but see if another person just came if another person were there and we started running around screaming, maybe that person would think, "Oh, they're just running around because they want to impress me or they're just doing something weird for me or
yeah, yeah.
and that's something that I'm always aware of is like if there's a fourth person
Right.
that it that may not feel and I think that I think that for me the virtuous way forward is to regardless of what that fourth person thinks that I still go run around and scream because
Yeah.
I want to and it's not hurting anyone and it's fun, you know.
you don't know, that fourth person might want to do it as well, but they might be nervous, you know?
That's true. That's
You don't
true.
know.
Actually, I had not thought of that. Actually.
And I think what really comes from it is two of us have a decently high emotional intelligence. We can kind of feel how other people are feeling.
Yeah.
And that would be my biggest thing is if that fourth person was there, I would want to make sure that they're comfortable and that they're like, I would, same thing as you, I'd think about what they're thinking while we're doing that. And I, part of me would be like, okay, I'm probably being judged right now. But then part of me would also be like, oh, well, I have two of my other really good friends here. I'm just going to have fun with them. And if you don't want to join in, then you can sit on the sidelines and wait till we're done screaming in our field.
I think. I mean, we did do that in Brooklyn, didn't we? Didn't I like climb a tree and something or
Oh
something
my God,
in
yeah,
Brooklyn?
dude.
It was
We
funny.
told you to get down.
Well, I think actually a good. So I wrote down one thing that I wanted to ask you that we didn't talk about before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, are some of your favorite, funniest moments from St. Cashin's?
Oh my God. The
Um,
first one, and I don't know if this is even my favorite, but I always tell people this, and I don't know why. I don't even know if it's funny. So just let me finish the whole story. So
okay, I'll shut up.
I think we were, please shut up for the next like hour, okay? I've had enough of it. You're bullshit. But I think we were cleaning out Mrs. Rookie's closet. I think I told you this story a million times. Again, this is the first one that comes to my head. And me and Rob were cleaning it out, and we found hard hats, like construction hard hats. And then we found a Tide bottle, or like a big Tide detergent thing. And for some reason, the three of us decided to make our way down the hallway, and we had it like coordinated where I would open the door of the classroom, you would, you being you would yell, "Bombs away!" and you throw the Tide bottle in the middle of the class. It hits some random fourth grader, and then Rob would be the one that walks in and gets it. And we went all the way down, like, that's it. We went all the way down. First of all, if that was nowadays, we'd be like suspended for saying bombs away in a school. But anyway, like, you didn't get, the best thing was like, you didn't just like toss it in. It was like an overhead thing away. And if it hit someone in the head, it hit someone in the head. And this was in the middle of a class. Like, it'd be like 2 + 2 is 4, bombs away. Like,
oh, oh, oh my God.
or
Oh.
when we were playing Survivor and we had our groups, and it was me, you, Rob, and Ike. And we voted Ike off first. And then you were allowed to come back, and we brought Ike back so that we could just vote him back off. But he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to come back and win this." And there was like crickets, and he just started laughing. You're like, "No, you're not." I don't know. I'm trying to think of another good one. I said this on our St. Cashin's call, but when you messed up the fourth grade sing-along thing.
Dude, Bobby brought that up too.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth dude, I do not remember that. Well,
You
selective
skipped over an
memory.
entire verse. Um,
Dude, that was literally 20 years ago.
Another good memory they had, this is not really in school, but it would be afterwards at our play dates. Obviously, we would play GoldenEye, and this is two memories. So we'd go to your house and play GoldenEye, and you'd play as, what's his name? Odd Job or whatever.
Odd job,
The circle
yeah.
technique where you'd go around me. First of all, I still use that to this day against people. It works every time. It's horrible. Like, the game developers got to work on that. But yeah, and we played on that one map that was like a snowy map where it, like and it had the railing that you could walk across, just defy physics and physically walk on that whole court. Yeah.
Yeah, the gondola, right? Because there was that
Yeah.
castle on the top of the hill and then the
Right.
cabin on the bottom. And then we'd shoot those missile launchers that you would
Yeah.
guide in, right?
And I think it was like, the rule was like, you'd get like right at the top of each thing and you couldn't move, and the person had to try to hit you with it. And like, we would get so close to each other. I don't know. You see with things like that. And then another funny memory was when it was me, you, and Rob. Every play date, at some point, you would take Rob hostage and hold with the Nerf guns, and I have to try to save him because poor Rob couldn't do anything to save himself, I guess, during those days. And so like because you had that tree in your backyard, you'd hold me like behind the tree with like a Nerf gun to his head. You'd like come and save him. Like, what is 8-year-old Jimmy gonna do to come save Rob who's being held hostage? First of all, why are you holding one of your best friends hostage?
Oh
And
my
I literally
God.
came over to your house to play with you and you was hostage.
Oh, that is funny. Oh my God. Dude, I forgot half of those. I forgot that totally forgot about the Tide bottle.
Yep. I don't know why that's the one that always pops in my head, but that's it.
Oh my God, that was I remember that. And you know what? It was such a perfect operation
Perfect.
because Rob would all the teachers loved
Yep.
Rob.
It was perfect.
So
I
like
opened the door.
he could do no wrong. So like you could throw like a rock at someone and
Yep.
Rob could go and pick it up and they'd be like, "Oh, it was Robert."
I think that's and I respect this to this day. The three of us were very strategic in whatever we did, and it not really Rob because he didn't. Well, Rob didn't play Age of Mythology, but I think the two of us played enough Age of Mythology to get very strategic in our lives.
Yes.
And to this day, I still laugh about you playing Age of Mythology because I hated playing against you. Like I loved playing against you, but I hated playing against you because like you're like the only one that caught on to the way to like beat me in that game. Because I would always play as the Greeks, and the Greeks they were really good, but they were expensive, like all their stuff. And so I remember we had a conversation about this like years ago. You told me that like the only way to beat me as the Greeks was to hit me early, and I hated it so much. I'd be like, give me like 10 more minutes to like get into the next age, the classical age or whatever, and then I can like kick your ass or whatever. But you always attacked early, and I hated it so much because you play as like the Norse, and you come with your freaking Olsflax or whatever.
Urflax, yeah,
I'd see him
Urflax.
on my map. We playing Acropolis where you have already like the rocks are making the walls for you, and I'd be building. Everyone else on the map was peacefully building up their village to like start their game, and I'd see this like little Olsflack just walking on. I'm like, what is Kenny doing? And then I'd find out you're building something on my property. I'd be, what do you like? Get off, please. Do what everyone else is doing and build your own little village. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that was like Kenny the young imperialist,
Oh
just trying to like invading your hometown as early on as possible. Dude, I
my,
love that game so much.
oh
I think my average game that I played was 7 minutes long or something. Like I would
and like
just like rush people.
yeah,
Like
you went
it
for the speed game. Tony and I went much longer on that. I remember there was one game. It was me, you, and Tony.
Oh, I remember that. It was one of the most epic games because it went like for 4 hours or
Oh
something.
my gosh. I don't know if it's the same game we're talking about, but yeah, there was that one went forever. And then there was one where and this is just like the most Kenny Age of Mythology thing that I can think of. You told Tony and I that you would drop out of the game if the two of us fought because you knew it was me and Tony versus you. It was just a given.
Yeah,
And you're
standard.
like, yeah, you're like, I'm just gonna drop out of the game. And you dropped out of the game, but like to the point where like you still could watch the game. And Tony and I went against each other. I think I won, but he'd probably disagree with that. But it was just like you're like, yeah, I just want to pit you guys against each other because you knew we were coming for you. And
Yeah,
Tony
well,
was playing the Egyptians, I think. I don't
I yeah, I know that
names of that.
as like if I didn't hit you guys in the first half hour, it was going to be a long game because like if I built up forces and
Yeah,
attacked one of you, the other one would come and hit me,
yeah,
and then I'd have to like have a reserved force behind your base to come in and kill your villagers to try to prolong your
yeah.
resource gathering. I mean, it was just like a whole big thing. And we were
Yeah,
like what 13 years old when we were playing this. Like,
yeah, we were figuring out all these strategies and stuff.
yeah, it's
And but
amazing.
oh, fantastic! I to this day, anything that I do strategic in my life. I'm like, oh, it's because I played Age of Mythology. It could have nothing to do with anything, but I'm like, oh, well, this helps and this and that, because that's you can't win without any strategy. It can't. You can build as many siege towers, or whatever, but it's gonna, unless you're using it correctly and smart,
Yeah, exactly.
you're gonna get taken down every time.
That's exactly right.
But you were smart because you knew, regardless of who was playing, we could have like 10 people playing. You were always the first one that everyone's going for because you're the biggest threat.
Oh my God. I love that and hate that at the same time. Like
Yeah.
it actually has continued to be that way my entire life. Like even to this day when we play, strategy games here, like
Hmm.
people are going after me right in the beginning. Like I
Because
think I just need to keep my mouth shut.
you do two things. Because, well, someone that knows you, I know you're good at strategy, and you'll do whatever you have to do to win. You'll backstab someone, no problem. But anyway, but I think it's also correlating back to what we said before. You're a character, so I think you're harder to read because you're not the average person. Where I
Mm.
think if I played against Rob and then someone like Rob, I could kind of read them a little bit. Granted, don't underestimate Rob, as we've seen in Freedom Fighters.
That's right.
He'll rip
Well,
you apart. But
that's right.
uh,
Everyone, Freedom Fighters. Robert Kearns is the world champion of Freedom Fighters.
yeah, fantastic.
Get him on here. Get him on here to save the day.
I think they're making a documentary on that whole war.
I think so. Yeah, I think Oliver Stone is coming in and directing a documentary
Yeah,
on it.
yeah. I think I forget some of the big names that are going to be in it, but they didn't cast Rob because they were like, yeah, no, we need all. I can't even make the joke. They're like, yeah, we need better actors than you. And even though he was an actor, he was in a scene from Little Manhattan, which is apparently a movie that no one's heard of.
Well, didn't he also play like peasant number two in the or what? Who did he play in the?
In Little Manhattan, he was someone playing the trumpet in the back.
Oh, that's right. He did play a trumpet. Who
Right.
is your favorite teacher?
That's tough. Well, going through all the grades, definitely not our first grade teacher,
Janolfi.
Nalfi. She wanted to hold me back. Imagine how different our lives would be if she held me back. We wouldn't be friends. Um, Granted, I couldn't read, but so
Dude, I didn't know how to read. I didn't know how to read till like fourth grade. I don't think.
hey, who needs it? I'm just kidding. Um, yeah, so I don't. I mean, she wasn't there very long. I think she left after a year. Pet Nelly, I thought was good in the sense of like she kind of whipped you into shape. Um, DeMarco was good. Um,
She was
then
good.
can you wink with both eyes? Yeah, I can
Yeah,
too.
watch this.
Wow, both of them? Shit, dude. Don't upstage me on this YouTube channel. That's a quality joke. I'm going to use that next time someone asks about blanking, which will probably be about 30 years because who?
Yeah, because no one else will. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, fourth grade was Mrs. Kelly, which
Dude,
probably not.
she wanted to hold me back.
Did she?
Apparently my I didn't know about it, but my parent yeah a, she gave me like 3 Ds or something, and my parents went in and talked to her about like, hey, like Kenny's having some issues. Like instead of giving him Ds, like could you like come to us and let us know like he needs help?
Yeah, instead of just giving him a D. Yeah.
Yeah, she was very like pull yourself up by your bootstraps kind of thing. I liked her,
Yeah.
but my parents did.
I didn't think she was bad. I think she's one of the more rememberable teachers for whatever reason. I think we going to like, what was it, the Waterloo place for our field trip, and then the New Jersey stuff. I think was for Miss Kelly. I think it was
Wait, did
fourth grade.
Waterloo? I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was like a place in New Jersey that we went to on a field trip.
My gosh, I don't remember any of that. You have a good memory. Fuck.
I do, unfortunately. I can only remember things that I interact with. Like if you told me a number right now, probably wouldn't remember it. But
Hmm.
um, if I interact with it and I can kind of paint a picture of it, then I do have a good memory. But anyway, fifth grade was Mr. O'Mara, I think, right?
Hmm.
I thought he was fun.
Oh,
I
wait,
don't
wait,
remember.
Mr. O'Mara. So, I mean, we had, so when
Yeah,
we were in fifth grade, we had Mrs. Fromfield, then we had Miss Sikowski, the daughter, and then Miss Moore.
all in the same year, all in fifth grade, right? Yeah, yeah, um, yeah. They were all good too. Um, but see, fifth grade for us was when we started having four teachers, or the fifth, sixth, or fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth grade teachers. So that's when we had a mix of everything. Um, I think Miss Limbarski was the most, not, I guess, fun, or she cared about us, you know. Um, we did a lot of cool things. We did like the Lord of the Flies with her, like boys
Oh,
versus girls kind of thing.
dude, I mentioned that whole experience in one of my other videos, just
Oh
like
yeah,
how great Lord of the Flies was. Yeah, Miss Lombarski.
the book or the experience. The book or what we did in seventh grade, or both.
Wait, say that again.
You talked about the book or the
Yeah,
thing that
the
we did.
oh well, I mean the thing that we did.
Yeah,
You know,
that
um,
was pretty fun, and
do you
it was
remember?
a good
Do you
experience.
remember Banicula in third grade?
Yeah, of course. Which you talked about in Bobby's video too, and he didn't remember it.
Yeah,
Good
forever. Yeah,
memory.
it took. Yeah, yeah. It took us like 4 months to read that
Oh my gosh. Actually,
50-page book.
Adriana last year came home with that book, and I was like, oh my god, I remember this, the Vampire Bunny thing. God, I was like, please don't make me read this again. I don't remember what happened in the book. I just know it was a vampire bunny. I don't know. I don't know anything else about it.
What was? Do you? I mean, it was so long ago now, but like, what eighth grade was like with Miss Sikowski, and I always wondered what it would be like to stay there another year with you guys, finish it out.
Oh yeah, I forgot that you wanted. You left in seventh grade,
I left between seventh and eighth grade. Yeah,
so you just missed 1 year.
yeah.
I see. It's weird because I remember you obviously being there in seventh grade, but then there's times where I'm like, oh, you left in like fifth grade, which is obviously not true. But I guess I thought it was so much more than just 1 year. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think you really missed much. I think it was more of just the wrapping up of everything, and I think people were more focused on where everyone was going to high school, um, which that was interesting too, especially because I went to a high school that no one else was going to. Um, which really didn't really make that much of a difference. Still hung out with everyone. Um, but yeah, I think in eighth grade that was interesting.
When you went to high school, what was that like? Yeah, I totally forget where you went to high school.
Yeah. So I went to DePaul Catholic, which was, most people either the guys went to St. Peter's, um, the girls went to the Mount St. Dominic, I think, and then some people went to public school, whether that be Glen Ridge or Montclair or whatever. Um, so I mean, I guess people for our grade mostly went their separate ways, or like in terms of school and stuff. My schooling was fine. I mean, I didn't. High school was very, in terms of like when I was in school in high school, um, just very like neutral. Just was what it was. It was not, wasn't like amazing times. It wasn't really bad times. It just was. Um, I had friends, whatever, but I think the coming from knowing the same people for how many years, then going into like making new friends kind of thing it was exciting, but then it was also like, obviously I'm going to go hang out with the friends that I've known
My whole
forever.
life, yeah.
So good and bad kind of thing in the sense of fantastic to go and meet new people, fantastic to hang out with old friends that I had. But then I think there was times where maybe I could have been, this is just me being harsh on myself, a little bit more social to meet new people as opposed to just falling back on the friends I already had kind of thing, which obviously I'm not regretting that, but I think if I had to think um, back on high school, maybe that, meet more people. But it was tough because I went, so DePaul was the Catholic school as well, and the class I was coming in as well was it was almost the same thing as same structure as St. Cashin's, where after 8th grade you go into whatever Catholic school or whatever school you want, and they were going in, like, I guess from whatever their Catholic school was, everyone would go to DePaul. So there was a large group of people that already knew each other coming into my freshman class. So
Oh.
imagine like St. Cashin's, all those people, not that it was a lot, going into the same high school, and then there was like the little outsiders kind of thing. I was obviously one of the little outsiders, but I had my group of friends that if I still saw, like if I saw them on the streets, I'd say hi to them and stuff, but I wouldn't, I don't really stay in touch with any of them. Just is what it is kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um,
How big was
college,
that? How big was your class?
not very big. I think graduating class is maybe like 150, 120, if that.
Oh,
Around maybe like 100 people. Yeah, I think maybe like 100 to 120. Was it?
moving like from seventh to eighth grade over to Swickley was crazy. It was like nuts.
We had to talk about a time to move in.
Oh my God. I mean, I was like, I was very sad and lonely because I missed you guys so much, and I really wanted to finish out the St. Cashin's experience. And but when I got there, like I did soccer, and that didn't work out well. But then I did the acting, and you know, met some people, and after did the musical, like it was the first time that I felt like girls actually like looked at me and liked me. Because like
Yeah,
every girl that I had ever liked before like either ignored me or definitely didn't like me back, you know.
yeah.
Um, and I never thought, you know, I never thought that any of the girls from our class liked me. Even
No,
though
but
I liked some of them.
we also had such a small group of people that it was tough. It was like 18 people. I don't even know how many guys and girls, but you split that in half. 9 people on each side, 9 boys, 9 girls.
Yeah.
It's really not that much. Uh, but I know what you're saying. The first time you're actually like, wow, people like me. You're like, oh, cool. It's not
Yeah, I had yeah.
nice to be liked.
Yeah.
Go
I
back
had
to
no
our conversations earlier in the video. It's nice to have people like you. You know.
right. It was just so exciting. It was so exciting, like
Yeah.
these kind of attractive girls liked me, and I was like, ha ha ha, you know. And really, what it came down to is, I remember them saying is like, I was just nice to them, you know. I was just like I was nice, I
Yeah.
was kind. Um,
Well, did they actually like you, or like?
they ended up, yeah. There were some who yeah wanted to date me, I think, and I didn't know what to do. So I just said no to everyone pretty much,
Yeah.
which was a bad decision because I didn't really date anyone until the end of high school.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because like I said, so what happened is like in eighth grade, I there were like 3 or 4 girls who liked me, and I was like, no, there's no way, I'm scared, I'm terrified, and
Yeah.
so I said no, and then ninth grade came around, and I
Mm.
liked them, and none of them liked me back.
They
And
missed
then
a shot. Yeah.
I missed my shot, and then I became really mean. I like went on AIM. I think that was right at the tail end of AIM, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I said some mean. I made like a hidden account, like a separate account, and I
Yeah. Yeah.
like said mean things to people as the mystery person, and then the people found out who I was, and
Yeah. Not good.
I was just, it was miserable 15-year-old. Ugh, awful times. Freshman, sophomore year
Uh,
sucked. Worst years of my life, I think. Yeah.
because of all that stuff or additional
I,
stuff.
Actually, I don't know if it
Pain.
was the worst year of my life. It wasn't actually the worst year of my life, but I was just so insecure.
Yeah.
I just wanted attention all the time, all the time.
I mean, that's especially during that age, that's fair. That's what high school really is. It's just people fighting for attention. You want to be the cool kid, you know? You want to be the one that
Yep.
everyone is like, wow, Kenny Fedorko, he's cool.
And I
And
was not that in that, like when you're the low end of you, when you're the bottom of the totem pole, freshman, sophomore, no one really, everyone's just like, that's the weird kid. He's probably like, he's just fucking weird.
and it's weird too because you can have your own set of friends and they love you and everything for who you are, but then there's the you go to high school and there's the popular kids, and for some reason you want to be liked by the popular kids even though you have your group of friends that love you for who you are. You're like, no, no, no. I know it's almost like your parents loving you. You're like, I know they love me, but like I want to be loved by these people that I don't give a shit about their opinion. I just want them to like me so that I'd be cool. It's high school.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it.
I don't know why it's that way, but you I don't know. I don't even know if this is the reason, but I think it's because it also helped. Like, you're also starting your dating life, and being someone that's liked or someone that has status in high school definitely helps your cause to be attractive,
Yeah.
which makes no sense at all, but it's just how it is. Like if you can be the ugliest person in the world, but if you're the most popular jock and you're the quarterback of the football team, like you're going to do
You have
well.
this you have this kind of social power. It's so weird.
But I mean, like that doesn't, to make this a little bit more relevant, that doesn't necessarily change when you get older. You could have this ugly looking guy who's probably a dick, but he makes a ton of money and he's a director or something. And
Or the president.
yeah, well, I don't know if he's getting a lot of chicks, but yeah, something like that where I'm sure if he went to areas that people really liked him, he could find people that want to get with him. But like things like that, it's just like a status thing. Now I can't speak if it goes the other way, if men like women for that too. But which I think in a case, yeah, I think people just are attracted, not even like for relationships or anything, just attracted to people that have status. Like it's nice to be like, I know for myself, it's nice to be like, oh, I know people at iHeartRadio. I can probably get a discount on concert tickets, whatever. Now that's not why I'm friends with them. I'm friends with them because I'm friends with them. They're good people. But there is you kind of like to brag about people in good status, and you'd like to be that person. I'm not gonna lie. It was back when I was working, traveling and doing all these events. It was cool to be like, sorry, I'm not free this weekend. Come to your birthday party. I'm going to Las Vegas to put on this concert, which is totally messed up because why should I take enjoyment in telling a friend like, sorry, I can't do that to go do something cooler? But it was cool. There was part of me
No.
that the narcissist was like, yeah, it's kind of cool to be like, can't make it to that party. I got to go to Vegas.
Oh, isn't that? I mean, it is so contagious. That is such a
Oh my
thing.
God.
It's like,
Yeah.
and for some reason, well, I mean,
For the
I
record, I'm
think
not like that anymore.
no, yeah, well,
I
no,
realize my error of my ways.
I think that. See, I don't think that hmm. My thought is that it's really difficult to disconnect ourselves from that because our society is very much like that.
Yeah.
And maybe the society is like that because naturally human beings are like that and we can't really
Yeah.
completely get rid of that ourselves, actually. Like I think
Yeah.
that the only way to kind of get rid of that is to just be aware of be aware of it and be aware of how other people do it and to disconnect yourself from that
Yeah. Well, I mean,
very willingly, very consciously.
if you go all the way back to like caveman days, obviously the caveman that has the most food is going to be someone that you want to hang out with, you know.
Yeah.
But I think as advanced animals, I guess you could say, we have to learn that that's not necessarily as important as someone that's going to take care of you and shares the same interests and stuff. Obviously, you don't want to. There is a point where if you're going to build a life with or a relationship with this person, you want them to have some sort of success and provide a good life for you. But also at the same time, you have to realize that like you shouldn't get that through other people. You have to provide that for yourself because in the end it's just you and if you believe in a higher power. But um, there's definitely, as I'm saying, there's definitely a biological sense of like you want to be with people that have a lot because you want to either have a lot as well or you want to live vicariously through them. Um, but I think as we get older and more advanced, we have to try to stray a little bit from that. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but
I think so.
you get what I'm saying, where it's like there
Yeah.
is the human nature of it, but then it's also like, well, how much do we feed into that and how much have we evolved from that kind of thinking?
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're at an hour and a half right now already. Isn't that insane?
Oh my
That
God, an
is
hour and a half
literally,
long. Jeez.
isn't that insane? So before I just kind of want to ask you one question
Yeah, keep going.
following what you were saying with that, and then we could do like your final thoughts or something.
Whatever you want to do, yeah.
So you were talking about like God or a higher power, and we went to Catholic school and stuff. And what do you think? Where do you stand right now with like religion and spirituality and
Yeah.
your place in your journey?
I, if I had to label myself, I'd say definitely more spiritual. Um, Maybe like in between like spiritual and being a Catholic, I guess you could say. I believe that there's a God, or I guess it's more of wishful thinking. Like I hope when I die, I go to heaven, um, and that there is an afterlife kind of thing. Because I don't want there to be a final end kind of thing. But at the same time, I think the big stray from me is the formalized like religion in the sense of like the church per se. Like the church says you have to do this or this and that, or you're going to hell. And it's like, well, I don't like. Maybe they're right, but maybe they're wrong too. In the sense of like, who's to say like I have to be dressed to the dime when I go to church on Sunday? Why can't I just be wearing a white shirt and jeans like I'm wearing right now, and red shoes, which I'm wearing red shoes, which is always fun. You want to see him? Um,
Yes.
oh my God, you're gonna make me do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
After I just pulled a hamstring.
Oh.
Oh my God. Um, talking about church, and I'm like, hey, you want to see my red shoe? Like, what? Um, anyway, so I think the whole like someone just like going to church and you have to follow the like this person's rules and this like I think just as long as you're a good person and you do well, then you'll be viewed and well after you die. But I think there's definitely a point where like I couldn't say that I'm really an atheist because I hope that there is something more. I hope there is some sort of divine power in the sense of there's times where like you're just having a bad day or like you're really nervous about something and you got to be like, hey, I don't know what else to do, but I'm just going to say a few prayers and hope that I need some divine intervention to help me out here. And so, um, whether that's takes action or anything, or maybe it's more of like a mental thing that you kind of even just like saying a prayer, maybe you're just talking to yourself out loud and working through something. But, there's times where life is not looking too well for you and you just need something else. And I do hope that there is something else out there. But so I guess it falls more in the spiritual line than anything.
Yeah, I think I believe in a God too. I don't think it's like a big man. Like I don't think it's like the universe is a beach ball and the guy's like, ha ha. Like I I think like there's a by God, I think of like kind of this just universal algorithm that is like so intricate. And I do believe in like, I believe that we are more destined to do things than having the free will to do things. Like, I think we can either choose to understand and recognize our destiny and choose actions towards that,
Okay.
or or there is just like, or you're just tr- you're I feel like there is a destiny that you have, and you can either go like this, or you
Right.
can go like this, or you can go like that. But I think that there is a that each person is born with this
Okay.
kind of desire in
So
their soul, you
I
know?
don't mean to interrupt you first. When you
Yeah.
say destiny, do you mean like when someone's born, they're born with a purpose, like at the like to accomplish in their life, and that's up to us to find that and get there, or like
Yes.
explain what you're saying by destiny.
Yes. Yes. Basically that is that. I think that people are born with curiosities about different things. I think that like
Mm,
curiosity is inherent in human beings.
yeah.
And I think that the things that we're curious about um, are are like guideposts towards towards going the route of what our destiny is, and that the thing that's keeping us from understanding our destiny is getting caught up in our thoughts and social constructions that kind of derail us from seeking from actually taking steps to accomplish the things that we're actually really intrinsically interested in becoming, you
Yeah.
know. And so I think that for me that for me I think that that's part of what God is. I think that's God in our daily lives, and that to be able to be in touch, I think that like, just think, there is nothing in this universe that we know of that has awareness and consciousness that we are part of a greater whole. Like planets don't
Yeah.
think like I'm a planet. Like human
Right.
beings can look, we can view ourselves and say, I am a creation. I have been created. Like,
Right.
what the fuck? I've been created. And
Yeah.
like that, that is a miracle. And I think that awareness is what can help us lead us to what our destiny is.
Then two questions.
Yeah.
Who I guess is what you're saying with God. Who decides the person's destiny? Like who's to say this one person's going to be a farmer, this other person's going to be a stay-at-home mom, obviously, which are both very important jobs. And then how do you then? What is the? Maybe I'm thinking more in like start to finish thing. What's the end destiny? Does it just keep going on? You
Right.
know,
Well, I yeah,
is there an end goal?
two great questions, and I've thought about these things. I think the only person who can understand a person's destiny is themselves.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you have your thoughts and I have my thoughts, and we know each other, but I don't know you 100%.
Right. Right.
And I think that I don't know myself 100%, because every moment is a new moment, and every experience is a new experience. And
That's life. You're figuring it out. You know.
I think that I think exactly one moment at a time. And I think that being present is the only way, being present and like allowing yourself to just do things that that you're interested in doing and that you want to do and
Yeah.
that you feel compelled to do. I think that being in the moment constantly is how you find out your destiny, and that can only be determined by yourself. And I think that's what deep awareness gets you to. And then it keeps going. It
Okay.
keeps going. But yeah, I mean, the universe is what, 13 billion years old, so it
All
just
right.
keeps going.
So
There's no end goal.
so you think when someone is born, it's not a defined destiny. It's just they're supposed to reach something. It doesn't like if I have a son is when he's born, is he going to be deemed a farmer? Which obviously he's probably not, because I don't. Who's going to
Yeah,
teach him how to farm? Or is it more of like he discovers that he likes agriculture, and then he's like, wait, maybe this is supposed to be my
I,
destiny?
I think the thing that you're talking about is like what's interesting is like you're kind of ascribing a label to him, like
Yeah,
your son. I don't think that your son is destined to be a farmer. I think he may destined to be deeply, deeply loving of nature, and he may want to create from nature. And
honestly,
so, how can that
even if
manifest itself
it's a
in
broad
these?
field.
Yeah, 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 and yeah, or exactly. There's like I think human beings have like interests that they want to put together in a creative way. I think humans
Right.
are also creative. So like it
Yeah.
def- it depends on the context. It depends on the circumstance. Like are you living in 1600 Europe? Then
True.
you may like your options are way more limited than today where like that same guy could be interested in understanding pesticides, So, so
I think the
that
bigger thing is people are, not to interrupt you, I apologize.
no, 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 no. It's fine.
People are meant to achieve great things. Um, and those great things can be small to other people, but to a certain person, they might be great.
Exactly, Jimmy.
There we go. End the video. I'll see you later. Just kidding. Yeah.
Ding. Yeah, that's it.
But I think that's, and there's, I know as I've gotten older, I appreciate people talking about things that they enjoy, whatever it is. It could be knitting, which is, for me, probably very boring. But if someone's talking about like all the different patterns of how to make a blanket like this and that, I'd be fascinated listening to them because it's just, they enjoy it. And you can tell that there's some passion inside them. And so why wouldn't I want to sit there and learn about it? Maybe
That's
I
right.
like it too. So I think that people need to, and it's not as simple as just saying it, but people need to find out what they're destined to do. And it might not be just a single thing of like, I'm destined to be a farmer. I don't know why I keep using that one, but destined to be a farmer. Maybe it's like, well, maybe you're destined to be a farmer and then also be a father of a kid, of a family, or then maybe like you help a local village or like a town, something like that. I don't
Yeah, the thing that's interesting that you keep coming back to are these the labels, and
know.
I
Yeah.
see I disagree with the idea of doing the label, right?
Yeah.
Like I think that if a person like things like I'm going to be a father, like what is the ideal of a father? You'll never get to what the ideal of a father is, but you can get as close as you can to like understanding yourself and your interests, even though some of these things may match up to being somewhat of a father. Like if you have the idea or the label in mind, I think that's missing the point. I think that distances you from yourself, the label.
Yeah.
If I
Yeah.
were to say I'm a Democrat, then that doesn't describe me fully. So why even do the label? I guess because it helps you to understand more
Well, yeah.
intricately, maybe.
Uh,
But I think ultimately it doesn't really. I think you ultimately what's holding us back is holding on to the label
yeah, it could be.
and then shedding the label. I think is the way to actually do the thing that you to connect to that destiny.
But just on the counter side, just because this
Yeah.
is what we like to do,
Yeah.
if you don't, I don't want to say put a label on it, but if you don't define it fine enough to be able to put a label on it, is it so generalized that you don't know what to do? And so I use this as an
Mm.
example. I
Okay.
remember when I was learning about how to do drum solos, if you would just like play me a drum solo, I'd have to like think about it and be like, well, what's gonna be good? I don't know, this and that. But if you told me like, oh, play a drum solo and it always has to be like 4 hits with your right hand, 4 hits with your left hand, I could be like, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Like now I have something to work off of. Now I have a
Yeah.
parameter where before it was so open that it was almost paralyzing because it was like, I don't know what to do because there's so much out there. So
Mm.
going back to the destiny thing, it's like as humans who like to put labels on things and put things in categories and boxes, does it help you achieve where you need to be by putting a label on it and saying like, oh, well, I do like agriculture. Well, what about agriculture do I want to learn about? Um, how to get water to small villages, or do I want to learn about how to grow crops properly? Like, and you're like, oh, well, maybe I want to learn how to grow crops properly. Then you're like, okay, well, what kind of crops do I want to grow? And you're like, oh, I want to grow corn. And you're like, oh, well, I guess I'd be a corn farmer then. Like, I guess,
Yeah,
you kind of make it
interesting.
smaller and smaller. And I think just naturally by doing that, a label would arise to it. Whether you really want to put a label to it, I think naturally you'd be like, well, I guess I go out to the fields every day and I plow and I sow and stuff. So I guess I'm a
I
farmer.
agree with that. I agree. I agree. Yeah, I agree with. I agree with that. I think the more specific you can be in the beginning to understand like what actions you need to do to do the thing that you love to do, I think that is a good use of like understanding language, right?
Yeah.
But if if what if your actions are taken to help you define yourself as the label,
Right. Right. Right.
I
Right.
think that is the wrong direction to take it. You
It's
know?
one thing if you arrive at the end and then put a label on it, as opposed to starting at the beginning and putting a label at the very end, being like, I want to be a farmer, and then being like, you don't even have an interest in agriculture yet. It's like, well, how do you get there and be a farmer? You like, it's like
Right.
you want to be that label as opposed to just doing what you like and then being like, well, I guess if I had to put a label on it right now, I would be a farmer.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think that the second one is healthier. I definitely
Yeah.
think the second one is it
Because
helps us to connect more. Yeah.
then you're, if you
Right?
take
What do you agree? Like what do you think?
I agree to, yeah, I agree, because then if you take that into the extreme of like someone being like, oh, I want to be a movie star. Well, it's like, well, if you're like a 15-year-old kid, well, why do you want to be a movie star? Do you want the fame and you want the riches of it? Because then, now you're not doing it for the right reasons. Where if someone's like, I just enjoy acting and I also appreciate the fact of how production for a movie goes, then it's like, okay, well, maybe that's what you do. And then maybe the person goes into the field thinking that they might want to be an actor, but then find out they enjoy more of like the post-production thing. They're doing something with like cameras or video editing software, something like that, where it was like, it's almost like throwing a net out there and seeing what you come back with.
Yeah.
Um, then I think that's better, because then the passion is there as opposed to just wanting that title at the end of a famous movie star. I think of a thing I heard from an interview with Matt Damon where they asked him like, okay, if someone wants to be, an upcoming movie star, what would you tell them for advice? And he told them, he was like, oh, don't be a movie star. And the person was like, well, what are you talking about? Is being a movie star bad? And he's like, no, but if I can talk you out of it, then you shouldn't do it because you don't have a passion for it. If someone really enjoyed it, then they'd be like, well, no, but this is what I enjoy, so I'm going to do it. It's like, well, that's different.
Mm-hmm.
Drop the mic. Um,
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
yeah. But I think to get back to the general picture of it all, I do think that people are destined for great things, and you have to realize what they are, and as I said, some things might be great to one person and small to other person, but you have to celebrate those victories for each person and
That's
help
it. And exactly. And that's why listening is so important
listening and not
because
judging.
exactly. Yeah, listening to understand the person's point of view because you have no idea to what extent like a small destiny or was something that could be viewed as small to one thing could actually be so deeply inspirational for thousands, hundreds of thousands, countless people. You don't
Oh,
know. You have absolutely no idea. And like what could be small one day could be huge 40 years from now.
absolutely.
So like don't, the I mean like look, like 20 years ago, 9/11 didn't even happen yet. So like what's going to happen in the next 20 years? Like cell phone like no one under the age of 20 had a cell phone in 2000, you know?
Yeah.
And
And you
now
think
everyone has one. So,
a good example, someone could be like, well, I want to make it where people can always have a phone and get in contact with whoever. And someone might have been like, well, why do people always need phones? They've got phones at their house. Like, if you need to call someone, you can do that. And someone was like, no, I want people to always have access to it. I want people to always be able to call someone. And then someone was like, oh, I'm going to go figure it out. And granted, the cell phone and other devices like that are probably a combination of a lot of people figuring out what they want to do, and different devices coming together. But something like that, it's a good example. Just,
Jimmy, we're always dude. This is why you're awesome. So before, oh, go
on
for it.
that point, I think we get it in the sense that there's more to life than just working your 9 to 5 Monday through Friday and then going on maybe having kids and then dying kind of thing. There's more to life. I know for me, I'm always looking for experience that elevate myself. As you know, I'm a very laid back person. So I'm looking for situations, maybe this is why I got into events, that heighten all the senses that I'm elevated and taken to like a different feeling than just my mutual laid backness, I guess. So I don't know where I was going with that, but things like that. I think there's
Well, yeah,
I think there's
it's
greatness to experience. So
I think right now what kind of what I'm hearing is like you're interested in examining and understanding your own process of finding your destined path.
yeah, I think so. I
You know,
mean, I
yeah.
want
I
to,
think everyone is, yeah.
but that's life. That's the journey. If I was born, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be whatever. I don't want to put a label on it because you already
A
proved that.
farmer.
A farmer. I don't even know how to farm. Then it'd be like, well, that's it. You're just gonna do that, and you're gonna live out your life farming. And that's that. Where it's like, well, maybe I don't know. Like the journey is the fun part. Once you get there, and then it's like, well, that you're there. You just do what you gotta
Now
do.
what?
And
Yeah,
now
exactly.
what? Yeah, but you gotta appreciate the journey getting there, and that's this is really deep. That's life. That you're gonna the ups and downs will help you get there, maybe. But you don't know. And I think that's the scary thing is you don't know if you're on the right path or not. But I would argue to say that you're always on the path. You might just be making a few little detours.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah, yeah, man. Really, truly. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and there's days where you're like driving down the road and you're like, this is not the right path I should be on. But maybe, because of that, it pushes you to get back on track.
Yeah. And then maybe in a direction that you never thought of the day before, or
Yeah.
I think the difficulty with all of it in practical terms is being honest with yourself when you think something really isn't your actual thing. Like for me, this has been a tough thing, like for the last 10 years, really. I've thought, okay, I'm going to be an actor. I want to be an actor. And there's some parts of acting that I really like, and there's some that I don't. And so if I don't like all of it, maybe the things that I do like, I think this is why I'm so not for the idea of a label, is because I'm like, okay, well, I like some things of the acting and I don't like some things of the acting. So I'm just going to stick with it because it's just what I told myself I'm going to do. And I would kind of feel like a quitter if I, if I chose to do something else. But like that's social pressure. And it's also that labeling um, that that simplifies things in a negative way, in my opinion. And so, but now, like I'm starting to get the courage to be like, you know what? I think that there's some parts of acting that I like, and I want to try combining those things that I like about acting with other things that I know I like, and try to combine something where almost every part of what I do when I do it, I like,
Yeah.
and that's destiny.
Yeah.
I think that's finding destiny. And
Well, I think
It's
sit
hard.
yourself
It's
down and
hard.
kind of figure that out, like maybe there's not anything made yet that puts all that stuff together, but maybe you're the first one. You figure out, you take podcasts. There was someone that was like, hey, I'm gonna just talk for an hour. I'm sure someone was like, who the hell wants to listen to someone talk for an hour? And now podcasts are a huge thing. So I mean, it's like the quote goes, everything's impossible until it's done. You have to just do it and figure it out. But I think that's the tough part, and that's the part that you gotta sit yourself down and talk about, is like, how do I cross off all these boxes of things that I enjoy and put it all in one. Wow, I'm spitting out fantastic lines. These last like 10 minutes. This should just be like the own video, like just the video itself.
So for you, like okay, and then also, oh my gosh, we're going on 2 hours. It's like flying.
Because
Um,
we have these talks all, we have these talks all the
yeah,
time.
this is
That's what
standard. Like if it's less than 2 hours, it's like what? Like, are you mad at me? Like, no, I
that,
mean not no, but like for you, like specifically for you and your path of destiny, like what are the things that you think you've discovered that you like about
yeah,
the things that you've done? What are the things that you think that you don't like about the things that you've done? And what are things
yeah.
that you haven't explored yet that you think you might like or might not? The gray area.
Yeah, so I think this might actually answer all the questions. So I noticed when um, for my career, I wanted to be in the music industry. When I was in college, I wanted to do that. They My school didn't offer music business as a degree, so I just majored in business. And then I was like, oh, I'm just going to go into the music industry. Obviously, I love music. So I took an executive assistant job out of college um, for a music company, a very small boutique music booking agency. And then I realized that I didn't quite like that, because I liked the music industry because I liked putting on the music and stuff. And so I realized that in working in the music industry, like the business side of it, it became like, this sounds weird, but too businessy.
Mm.
Like you had to worry about like getting contracts ready for this person, that, and I was like, wow, I want the fun side of that. And prior to that, I had worked an internship for Live Nation, where I helped put on some concerts, and I go to the concerts and promote something, whatever. So anyway, to get back to what I was talking about, I realized that what I liked about the music industry was putting on the events, putting on the concerts. So then I switched over to um, events, and I did that for a little bit. And then I realized, through doing other events that weren't concerts, that I enjoyed putting on events, and I enjoyed the fast nature of it and always on your feet and doing this and doing that. But to answer the question, what I really enjoyed was providing people with one night that they would truly remember and making it really remarkable, and especially the people that don't get to go to events that often. Like you have the radio station winner, and this is a true story. Not happened to me, but everyone loves stories. One good friend went to Bonnaroo, like we worked Bonnaroo, which is a large music festival, and her and the manager, like the two people that worked for my company that were there, they met this guy that was just there to celebrate, and they had extra tickets, like backstage passes or whatever. So they were like, oh, we'll get them to you. Like it was like their work had already been done. They had extra stuff, so they handed it away. So then, this is a 3-day music festival. So then they saw him the next 2 days, and they were, they had other stuff, so they gave him more stuff, and made him have a really good time. And he was there by himself, so they were like, oh, we're gonna
Wow.
party with you, whatever. Then they find out on the last day, he's like, thank you guys so much for doing this. And they're like, dude, it's okay. Like we had extra stuff. Like we don't mind. He's like, no, like really, thank you for doing this. He's like, my brother and I used to come to Bonnaroo all the time. And he's like, my brother died last year, so this is the first time that I've been to Bonnaroo by myself. And they were just like, dude, we're here to help you. Like, and so it's things like that where it's like, you don't know that person's story, but like you made them like forget about all their problems in life and you just put on a good event for them.
Oh, dude, I'm
And
getting chills. Yeah, that's a
dude,
great
I know.
story.
Or something like that when it's like, and it's little things like they just hung out with him and they had extra passes. Like if they didn't give it to him, they would have just went in the garbage and that's that. But they did that, the nice thing. They found this guy just randomly. And then you find out, you know, him and his brother used to go to Bonnaroo all the time. Like that was their thing. And, you know, I'm sure they loved music and stuff. So they'd see certain acts. And then you find out that his brother died last year and this was his first time going. So like, I'm sure him going to Bonnaroo was like, even to go at like, I know for me, I'd be like, I can't do Bonnaroo anymore. That's sealed off to me and my brother. And obviously he's not here anymore. So for him to even take that leap to go, and then they were able to make it a remarkable experience by giving him like backstage passes and stuff. It's like, that's what I want to do. That's the stuff I want to do. So um, that's why I like events so much. Is I mean,
Mm.
obviously there's people that complain, and you're getting yelled at, and you're running around this and that, and it's very hectic. But then there's the moments where people that aren't so fortunate to go to these events like every weekend go to this and they have a remarkable time and they're posting on Facebook and social and just social media and you can just tell that they're really enjoying it. So um, that's really what I enjoyed. But then to continue your questions that you asked, I realized and this is pretty recently, probably within the past year, by always focusing on like making sure other people are having a good time through my work, I've realized that I've started to neglect a little bit of my own self, making sure that
Mm.
I'm having a good time, kind of thing, just like in life, kind of thing. So I think what I'm trying to work on, especially now, I told you with like working out and everything, is focus a little bit more on myself, so that I'm in good condition to give to other people. Um, so just things like that, you know, get my life in line, and not that I'm living a horrible life or anything, but just things that I get a little bit more of a social life, just focus on myself a little bit so that I can help other people.
Yeah, give from a deeper, better place, right?
Yeah, I mean, I admire those people that just keep giving to others and others and others, but there does come to a point where you do have to remember that you're important as well, and you have to give to yourself as well. And so I think that was um, something I really have to focus on, and I'm sure you can probably visualize that as well. I think I've always gotten along with everyone that we've known, and I'm pretty much a nice person and try to help people when
I
I
don't
can.
think that I've ever met a person who like doesn't who you don't get along with or who doesn't like you.
It's shocking that everyone enjoys me. I'm like, why do you like me? I'm an asshole. I'm just kidding. Um, no, so things like that where it's like, obviously I enjoy people liking me and I enjoy giving back to people and having a great time with people and providing them with great experiences and stuff. But there is a little bit of like, I've got to focus on myself too. Um, so it's easier said than done, but I'm trying to work on myself as well. It's a little bit of a balancing act, but here we are.
Yeah. It sounds like you're becoming more aware of like your inner harmony and what you need for that.
Yeah, I mean, because there's days when I'm not feeling great, and I also realized by losing my job to COVID that I was focusing very much on my job, and I enjoyed it. It provided some social aspect as well, and it was also providing what I just said, where being able to give back to people through events and making them enjoy a really fantastic night. But when that's taken away, you have to realize that it's just me, myself, and I kind of thing. That I have to realize like what what am I doing to help myself? And when I moved back here, it was like I have nothing kind of thing. Um, Not in like a pity way. And obviously, I do have stuff. I have a roof over my head. I've got food. I've got a bed. Um, but just what do I do to make myself have a really great time? And I think that's why I started working out again. And I enjoy the results factor of working out, where you work out for a while and then you start seeing that you're getting a little bit more muscular, or maybe you're able to run farther and things like that. So that's what I'm trying to do. But
Mm.
so,
Oh, Jim. Jimmy Salmon, folks. Jimmy
Funny thing about
Salmon.
this video is it's all bullshit. I just make it up and then I go back to
Go like
it's
eating
horrible.
like chip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
eating
Yeah, Wendy's
out the
just like
mouth.
shoving.
Yeah.
Well, before we go, is there anything that you'd like to say to the audience or to yourself? And I would love to do these like every year with you and Rob,
Yeah.
or so. And you know, like I think that'd be so cool. Like after 40 years, we can just see ourselves growing up. And God,
We
um,
should we should do this every year, and then like maybe after 5 years, get together and just watch them all. Like just have like a little like watching party. Here I am planning an event. Oh my god.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, we should do that. And
that would take a whole day. You know, that would take a whole
oh my
day.
god,
You
it'd
know,
be an adventure.
yeah.
First of all, it would take a lot of mental power to just sit there and watch everyone talk to each other, even though we've lived all these. But yeah, I mean, we should, I don't know, do it sometime.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see what happens.
Um, but yeah, I would do this every year. That's the only time I would do it. I can't. Just kidding.
But
Yeah.
but any last thoughts or anything that you want to?
No, I mean, the only last thought is kind of what I said last time in our video, where I thank you for being my friend for this long and being able to have these kind of conversations. It's I've never felt judged or anything when we talk about whatever. Never felt pressure to say certain things. So thank you for being an open channel to have weird conversations with sometimes. And I think it's kind of what your channel is going for, is just people need to talk to each other more, but more importantly, not judge each other when other people are saying what they're saying, and just be a listening ear. So I've been fortunate enough to be friends with you for 25 years, so I've always had someone that I could go to and talk to about certain things. Don't cry on me now.
No.
But no, so I mean, at the not everyone has that. So some people are afraid to talk about certain things because they're afraid that they're going to be judged for certain reasons. And I've never, at least talking to you, I've never felt that you were going to judge me for a certain thing. If anything, we would have a conversation on why I feel that way, and maybe a little bit of like an education part of like why you disagree with that or why I disagree with that. It's always meant with the intent to listen and possibly educate, and it's never really to judge. So,
Oh, thanks, Jim. Yeah.
and thanks for all those funny moments that we were talking about
Oh
before
my
with Asian
God.
mythology and stuff. Like,
Oh
it's
my God, dude, the Tide bottle. That I'm gonna be thinking about that now for a while. Just how
it's
funny that was. Oh, I
hilarious.
remember that now.
And as you said, it was perfectly planned. Like, I would open the door because whatever. You would be the one that's like funny enough to be like, bombs away. And then, as you said, everyone loved Rob because he was a good student. Like, what could he do wrong? So he just walked in the class and grabbed it. Like, the fact that it was so perfectly planned for like such a stupid, silly thing is like, that's what makes it great. And we went all the way down the hall. We would hit every class. Like, God forbid, like, I'm sure the joke got old after the second one, but like, we just kept going. I don't know how I think it was towards the end of the year, so I don't think we got detentions or anything.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think, yeah, we did not get detentions for that. I remember I only got 4 detentions my whole St. Catherine's career, and I got two on one day.
Yeah, yeah. I remember you talking to Bobby about that. I only got
Yeah.
one detention. One
Your whole
detention
time?
the whole time. And this is actually a funny story. Do you remember when it was me? So it was me and Andrea in the bathroom. And do you remember there was a period where remember the boys' bathroom had a really high ceiling, and
Yeah,
it was
really
a
hot.
cool period where people would take a wet paper towel, put soap on it, and throw it on the ceiling, and it would stick. Do you remember that? So
Yeah.
me being me being the not so smart person, but wanting to help, I was like, Andre, let's knock these down. And so we would take the same thing and try to hit them. Now, I'm not an athlete, so we missed every time, not realizing that we were just adding to it. Someone came in and saw us doing that, so they were like, oh, you're defacing the boys' property or the boys' bathroom. You're going to get a detention. So, got detention. And I was like, this is horrible. I think I cried when I got it. This is, God forbid, Um,
Yeah.
and then for the detention, I remember it was like Saturday detention. We had to write I forget what we were writing about, but we had to write an essay about whatever the topic was. And the paper, of course, wasn't just like a standard paper. It was like college ruled, like all like it was much longer. It was like this is the first time I ever seen a piece of paper that long as like a little fourth grader. And I was like, oh my God, I can't write this much. I can barely write 3 sentences. So I wrote whatever, and it was taking me, I was like, the whole thing was once you get to the bottom of the page, you were able to like go home and that was it. And it was like taking me forever to get to the end where Mr. Mean was like, okay, like let's finish up. It was like me and one other person. I was like, I've got nothing left. I have no, like, I don't know what else to do. And he's like, well, just think of something. So me thinking of something, I just drew a house at the very bottom. And it took up like this much space on the paper. And he's like, all right, fine, just go home. And I was done. So I wrote like a normal sized essay and then I just drew a giant house at the end.
Dude, those Saturday detentions were like dreaded.
I mean, I only went to one, but some people loved them. They would just play like football and stuff. Like,
Really?
there's something to do on Saturday. I know that.
Oh my God.
But yeah, to this day, I remember it's the only detention I ever got in my life. And it was funny because I got it trying to help, not being
Right.
smart.
Yeah, you didn't. Yeah, you didn't actually. Yeah, I almost got suspended in high school, but that'll be another story for another time.
That's for next year. Yeah.
Yeah, that's for yeah, exactly for next year.
But yeah. Anything
All right, Jim.
we didn't cover? Life,
I mean, we've got. I mean, we could go. We could talk about. I was really interested in talking to cancel culture about cancel culture with you, as well as the phenomenon of red lighting. But we'll talk about that. We can always talk about that.
Yeah, we could always do another video.
Yeah. Actually, it could be good to get you and Robert on and just do like just three of us talk.
That would be good. I think that would be I'd be down for that.
Could be pretty funny. We bounce off of each other. Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
It'll be like the two of us talking about like philosophical stuff, and Rob being like drinking wine in the back, being like, "What are you talking about?"
Dude, the original video. Did you know this? The original video that I did of Rob, I accidentally deleted. Yeah. It was like a 2, and he actually he actually went and peed. He like brought his laptop and peed while the video was going.
I was sitting on the couch with Anthony. We were playing Super Smash Brothers actually while he was doing it, and he just comes out. I'm like, "Oh, you done?" He's like, "No, I'm just taking a bathroom break." I was like, "Are you still on the video with Kenny?" He's like, "Yeah." And I just saw him walk to the bathroom. And it's like most Rob thing I've ever seen. Yeah.
Yeah, I cannot believe I deleted that video.
But you guys did another one though, right? I didn't watch it.
We did. So we have both done a redo. Yeah. So.
But for the record, those were the first 2 videos. So it's like you were also just like getting started.
Exactly. Yes. So yeah, I'm glad it didn't derail me. So now I've tried to do at least one video a day, which I've pretty much done. So knock on wood, I'm gonna continue doing that.
That's good. So, have you seen more people checking out the videos or like any more activity, or is it?
Yeah. Well, really I think that we've got like my intro video has like 40 views right now.
Okay.
Which is, I mean, we'll, I'm not expecting. I have no expectations as to views. I really have more of an expectation of like I'd like to hit a certain amount of strangers. I'd like to really my focus is just to do one video every day until something something may happen, So just do something until something happens.
I think the stranger thing is great because I think that's where you're gonna really find, like for your personal usage, that's where you're really gonna find things that you weren't expecting right away. Because I mean, we've known each other 25 years. I'm sure if you had to guess some of my views, you could figure it out. You can kind of we know each other decently well to know the answers to the questions that we ask. But for a stranger, you don't know what they're gonna say. So,
dude, I was talking to this guy from Kuwait. He was a 15-year-old, 16-year-old kid from Kuwait.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe that could be an interesting video for you to check out. It was the one where I felt the most. I didn't quite know what to say. I didn't because like his beliefs of like feminism are pretty much like not that he just doesn't believe in it. He's never been outside. I mean, he's been to Bahrain and like he's never left the Middle East. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's I ask him about things, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's the case," and I'm like, "Don't you see that that could possibly not be the best for women's rights?" And he's like, "No, it just makes sense." So it's like really interesting. I think that was the one
Oh
where
yeah.
I felt the most resistance, but
But I mean,
yeah,
that's it's gonna come with it. I mean, even just
yeah. Well, I
interviewing.
like that. I like it. I was just caught off guard because it hasn't like theoretically I'm for it, but practically I don't know how to approach it yet, really.
Well, I mean, living in the United States, we're very focused on like the United States view of things, and that we think that that's how the
And
rest
also
of the world.
Europe too. Europe too.
Yeah. But that's very much not how the rest of the world lives. Um, so it's great to get someone from a different country, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, we got I think 14 different countries, I think, and like 15 different states. So we'll just
You
keep
find
going. Hmm?
you find these people.
Omegle. Do you know
Yeah,
Omegle?
yeah, I do.
Oh my God, it's weird.
Because you can just click like next, 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 and you.
Yeah, and like about 1/4 of the people you come across are just like literally just penises.
Yeah.
So
You don't want to interview that.
I've actually interviewed one, but I can't. I put that on the
Yeah, yeah.
explicit
That's
channel.
the people got to pay for that one.
Yeah, exactly. That's the paid programming one.
Yeah, yeah. That's the 19.99 a month, yeah, for those conversations. Yeah.
Yeah, to get access to those interviews, you'll have to pay for my Patreon account.
Yeah, you got to be 18 or 18 or older.
Oh, no. Okay, man. I'm gonna make myself some dinner, I think.
Yeah, I got to figure out what the family's doing. Oh my God, it's almost 6 o'clock. Jeez.
That's nuts. Okay.
Time
Well,
to-
say hi to everyone and I'll talk
I
to you
will.
soon.
I'll let them know.
All right, man.
Yeah, and
I'll
we should get the me, you, and Rob next time. I think that'd be a good video.
I think that'd be
So
awesome.
we'll make it happen.
Okay, dude. All right. See ya. Love ya.
All right, love you too.
Bye.
Bye.